All right, we are recording and being live streamed. So, and it is 6:31. We have a quorum. So let's see if we have everybody is here. Yes, everybody's here, and can we? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to open the April 21st, 2022 New Paltz Town Board as Police Commission. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as written. Second. All in favor? Or any
Aye.
Aye. Announcements? Anyone?
The only announcement I have is this Saturday is the baseball softball parade Saturday morning. Departing the New Paltz Middle School parking lot around 9 a.m. So we'll have Main Street closed from the middle school down to Chestnut for about 30 minutes while the parade proceeds down and on to Plattekill Avenue.
And I think Clean Sweep is this Saturday as well. So I think it starts at 9 o'clock, but go to St. Joseph's a little bit early and let's clean the place up after the long winter. And that's all I have. And with that,
I have some more, a couple other announcements about events this weekend. On Saturday, in front of, I believe, the Reformed Church on Huguenot Street, there's an Earth Day fair. The organizers have done it for many years in the same location. This is a smaller version of it, but it's still happening. I don't know the hours. I'm sorry, it's probably in the newspaper. But also there's on Sunday, Millbrook Preserve is having an event that is celebrating Earth Day. So that's Sunday at Duzine Elementary from 1 to 4, and lots of things for families there.
all right.
Oh, super quickly.
Can I do one announcement as well?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, this is a little further ahead, but just so that people put it on their calendars, on May 15th, which is a Sunday, the New Paltz Rotary is doing a fundraiser. It's a River to Ridge walk from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's a fundraiser for the Rotary. That's May 15th. So if Rotary does really great things. So if you're around on May 15th, head over to River to Ridge and be part of the walkathon.
Perfect.
Lastly, I just want to continue to remind people that we are still doing police commission interviews at 7 p.m. at our town board meetings.
Very quickly, I just want to say that I attended the Easter egg roll. Was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? I've already lost track of time.
2 weeks ago.
2 weekends ago. And I just want to thank our New Paltz Youth Department for putting that together. They do that, and with the exception of I think 1 or 2 COVID-related Easters, they do a great job with that. Our police and fire department also participate, and it's really just like a great event to see families, participate in something that I'm happy that we're able to put on every year. So just want to thank for them for coming in on a weekend and putting that on for the community.
Yeah. Anything else? If not, I'd like to open it up for public input. If people keep their comments to 3 minutes, raise your Zoom hand and Diana Francis.
Yes,
Please.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to make a quick comment about a couple of things, and I'm gonna be gone because I have to run to Field of Dreams. So what I wanted to express is my concern regarding the process that the town board has established for implementing what is to be the next New Paltz Police Commission. One, the town board has placed the sole responsibility of seeking candidates and structuring interviews to the most junior person on the town board, which is Miss Essie Lewis. Second, Ms. Lewis has no prior experience working with a police commission nor this town board. Also of concern is that a person of color from the town board has been assigned this task. This could cause harm to this board member and likely would not be understood by the other members. People of color should not be doing the heavy lifting with regards to anti-racism work. The town board still has not availed itself, as far as I know, for training for undoing racism. And my final comment is this: the process currently being used by the town board to implement the new police commission will likely fail. It will give the illusion that Ms. Essie Lewis has failed at her assigned task, when in fact, it will be the failure of the town board and its leadership. Training is key in implementing success for this police commission. I'll leave the members of the town board and leadership with this one question to ponder that you do not, I'm not asking you to answer, but what is the fear in constructive dialogue about race and racism? Thank you for your time.
Next comment. Edgar. Go ahead, please.
I just want to support what Diana just indicated. Yesterday, I was at the police conversation at Peace Park, and there were 3 police officers there, and they all described a lot of reservations about who the candidates are for the police commission. It was really impressive how anxious and maybe even scared they are. And so the idea that Diana pointed out, I think, is correct. I think this should be an effort of the entire board to actively recruit people, and that it's not just a person of color reaching out. It's really the job of everyone. I mean, you do have a statement on racism that you took, that you committed towards working towards it. So I would ask all the other board members to also actively seek out candidates. I understand that there may be only 6 candidates on it. And, you know, given the tone of the police, the conversation was frank, it was good, and I appreciate it, but it really raised, I was impressed with their concern with the police commission. Thank you.
Hey, do you have a comment before we move on? No? Okay. I don't, unless, anyone else have a comment? No. If not, we will move on to the motion to move into executive session.
Second.
And so I'm going to try, we'll see how this works, everyone, right? We're going to try to go into executive session. I'm going to bring the computer with me. So
All in favor, aye. Sorry, just add it on there.
we're going to, and the chief's going to come with us, but let me try if we can not do this on the phone. We can do it on in a breakout room, bring you guys into the and now I just need to figure out how to get invited in here. Okay, get used to this by now. So, Julie, you guys, can you hear me, Julie? I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session. Second. And no action taken. And for the people who joined the meeting while we were in executive session, we are on item 2 of the police commission meeting. So we're running a little bit behind. So just hang tight. We'll be there soon. And with, I guess for item 2, it's review and make a motion to forward the promotion of Calvin Halstead to temporary sergeant to the town board. I don't know if we want to have any discussion with that, Chief, or
Just to give you all an understanding of where this request is coming from, Sergeant Pat Koch will be retiring effective May 30th. He'll be walking out of here at 3 p.m. So I'll make another announcement, but if anybody would like to join us for his walkout. And with that, we need to fill that position. And we conducted interviews. We interviewed 2 members expressed interest, and Officer Halstead was was selected to fill that position. It would be a temporary sergeant's position because he is not on the list. There's only one individual on the current list, supervisor list, who did not interview and is not interested in this position. So this would be a temporary appointment. The county is giving us supervisors or sergeant's exam in June of this year. And at that point in time, if Officer Halstead takes the test, scores well, passes and reaches well, it would be.
we're not moving around enough.
I would be coming back before you for approval to have him made as a permanent position. This is similar to the promotion of Sergeant James back last year with the resignation of Sergeant Quigley. And the rate that it would be effective April 26th. This would allow us a month or so to have him field train with the current supervisor before he's out on his own. I think that's a good thing to do. It gives him a better sense of what his duties would be. It allows him to be comfortable in that and confident in his ability to carry out the job. And it would be as a rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement for first year supervisor.
Thank you. All right, so I'd like to make the motion to forward the promotion of Calvin Halstead to temporary sergeant to the town board. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so, well, next is number 3, review and forward to the town board for approval, the hiring of Janae Gasparini as a part-time police officer effective April 25th, 2022 at the part-time police officer rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement. And so, Chief, if you want to review that for the board.
So Dr. Gasparini is a former full-time member of the agency here. I had spoken with her a while ago, and she had expressed some interest in returning as a part-time police officer. We would be asking the board to allow us to hire her as a part-time police officer. Her duties really would focus on discovery, and if there's able to do so, maybe help out with accreditation as well. But really discovery. But then be a part-time police officer that would assist with events, patrol, and be available to us in that regard as well. I think just knowing Janae, I think it's a no-brainer for us. I think she's well versed, not to mention what she brings from the academic side from Ulster County Community College as an adjunct professor. I think can only help us in keeping up with best practices. So I'm hoping that the board would authorize this and approve her hiring.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, number 4 is review and forward to the town board to accept the resignation of Elena Luyando. I said that correctly, as full-time dispatcher, and approve her remaining as part-time dispatcher effective end of tour April 8th, 2022.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And monthly report to chief.
Just to start out here, we had a couple of commendations. The first is a commendation for Officer Town, who responded to a missing persons report. An individual, local resident, had gone missing, wandered off. Officer Town was able to locate this individual and return them back to their residence safely. The family of this person sent a letter to me, an email to me, just wanting to thank Officer Town for his efforts, that they were greatly appreciated, and it was comforting to their family, and just what he did for them. The next thing, it was a thank you card we received for Officer Milton. He responded to a medical call for a 91-year-old male that had fallen. He arrived, assisted rescue and assisted with the attending to this individual. And the family had written a nice thank you card for wanting to thank him for assistance there, helping him out. Any questions about those two? There were no complaints. I forgot to mention that earlier. We had 2 defensive action reports filed. They're both for the same incident. Actually, I take that back. We had 2 incidents, and the first one, I had 2 reports filed. The subject in that incident is a 22-year-old male, approximately 5 feet 7 inches tall, 215 pounds, medium build, white. 2 reports are filed because each officer that was involved filed the reports, so the information about that is the same. Officers had responded to the Plattekill Avenue parking lot for a disturbance. They'd been flagged down. An individual told one of the officers that he was struck in the face by another male subject. The victim in this case pointed out the assailant to the officers. The assailant then began to walk away from the scene. One of the officers followed behind them, trying to call to his attention to just have him stop. He continued on. The officer then just jogs up after him and stops him to speak with him on Plattekill Avenue near the Starbucks in Ariel Dentistry. The officer informed him that he was a suspect in an assault that had occurred in the Plattekill Avenue lot. The individual had refused to comply with any verbal direction. The officer went to make physical contact to take the individual, just place their hands behind their back to cuff him. The subject pulled away. The officer directed him to the ground, where another officer assisted in handcuffing that individual. We reviewed the reports. Sergeant arrived on the scene shortly thereafter. And in reviewing this use of force, both officers were acting within department policy and consistent with the training. I don't know if there's any question about that one. So the next incident is involves a 27-year-old male, 6 feet, approximately 205 pounds, medium build, black. The 2 officers were out on Main Street investigating an assault that had occurred and involving several individuals. While they were on scene interviewing a group, the suspect in this particular case just came in, walked in and punched another individual that was in the crowd. The officer grabbed the subject, directed them down to the ground, and took them into custody without further incident. Reviewed again the reports and the evidence or the video related to this use of force. And the officer's actions were in compliance with policy and consistent with training. There was obviously there was one external factor of note, and that is that during the arrest, the officer's body camera became dislodged. It didn't turn off, and it was picked up and remounted. This is an issue that we have, that we have encountered previously, and we were able to see this using by viewing the video of other officers that had arrived on scene. You could see that the camera had been dislodged, and that was it with that report. I don't know if there's any questions. No. The only other thing I wanted to note, just in terms of the training report, is that Officer Miller and Snyder had, at the time of this report in March, had entered into the phase 3 of our department field training program. They're just about done, and they did a great job. We're excited to have them out there on their own. They, I think, as a matter of fact, already are out on their own on patrol, and they're doing well. And Officers Fazio and Childs, as of early March, had entered into the second phase, and we anticipate them being done relatively soon as well. And they're doing very well out there on their own. So, and that was it. Unless there's any questions.
No, I'm all set. Anyone have any questions? If not, that's all for the Town Board as Police Commission. And so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we will move on to the Town Board meeting. And so I'd like to make a motion to open the April 21st, 2022 New Paltz Town Board meeting. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as written. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Announcements, all town offices will be closed tomorrow, Friday, April 22nd, for Record Management Day. The other thing is we have, I'm just thinking about it now, but we're handing out free test kits that we were given by Woodland Pond. We've handed out well over 1,000, I think, so far. We just got some more. They donated some more. So if you need kits, there's some here at the police station, the town hall. The youth center have them. Youth center has them. So if the kids go to the youth center, tell them to pick up some kits. There are kits at the reuse recycling center and the community center. So get your kits, get tested if you don't know. But yeah, that's my announcements that we have. And then talked about a police commission meeting. Clean sweep is on Saturday. Come and kind of help clean up your town. It's at St. Joseph's Church, 9 a.m. So, any other announcements? If not, we will open the floor for public input. If someone would like to make a comment, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. Go ahead, Edgar.
I think it might be muted.
You need to unmute yourself, Edgar. We can't hear you.
Thank you for that, whoever said that. Thank you. It's Edgar Rodriguez, New Paltz resident. I'm expanding a little bit on a comment that I made the last time regarding the need to do financial planning long-term that involves the community. We know we have a crisis with the repaving of our roads in the town. This last rain storm that we had, you can clearly see additional damage to all of our roads, I believe. And what I like to add that's new is that the idea that the community participate with the town government in planning long-term finances and maintenance and facilities is something that's not new to our community. This is part of the way that the New Paltz Board of Education is organized. They have facilities committee with community members on it with board members. They have an audit committee with board members and community members. They have a legislative committee likewise and other committees. So the idea is to engage the community in addressing our financial needs for the future and addressing the issues of facilities and our roads. Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, we will move on to the first item. So in order to move this process forward, we've contacted everyone who originally applied, and we've scheduled another interview session for May 5th, which will be the last day for interviews. If anyone else has an interest in interviewing, they will need to show up at the May 5th meeting. After that, we're going to send out a list of questions to each applicant, which will need to be answered and returned to the board by May 13th. Then the board will appoint the new commission on May 19th. That's kind of the idea that I had going forward. I'm interested in if anyone else on the board has thoughts. If those dates are, none of them are hard and fast. It's just I'd like for us to keep this process moving. I feel like we want to interview anyone who wants to apply, and we welcome everyone who has any interest. Even if you don't want to apply, come and talk to us, and maybe then you'll be interested. Or if you know someone who's interested, please come have a discussion with us. But the intent of us changing this law was to have a police commission made up of non-elected members. And, we passed this law in November. And so, we've had this process open now for several months. And I like interviewing people, but I also want to get people involved and let the town board step away, because people did ask that we have members of the public on this commission. So I'm not trying to rush it, but I think we have to put some dates in there at some point, and these may not be the right dates, but I just put some dates forward for us to have a discussion about. And if anyone has any thoughts on that.
I agree with you, Neil. I think that those May dates are absolutely appropriate and timely. We have been having interviews for a couple of months now and posting and advertising for those interviews. And so I do agree that May 5th should be a ending date for interviews so that we can continue with this process and actually get a non-elected board.
And if you can't make the May 5th interview, that's fine. If you still are really interested and you can make the meeting after that, I think we're flexible. Trying to close the door on this so we can move forward. So if you have any interest at all or questions, please come, and we're happy to interview you, talk to you. I mean, right?
I'm happy with setting those dates, and I think that setting the date is an important goal. And obviously, if we get an influx of people who want to do it, who we haven't talked to yet, I don't think anyone's saying we're going to turn them away. But I don't think that, and this is to our credit, not detriment, we've ever had a longer or more engaged process to find individuals to serve on any town board or advisory committee or anything along those lines. So I think it's good to kind of try to at least set a goal to put an end to it as well. Too.
Okay.
I agree that it's been a very thoughtful process. Good point, Dan. And long. I get a little anxious. I have wanted it to be a shorter process, but I understand. We've had terrific people, and but I do want to clarify too for the public that we are all involved in trying to find people. It's not on one person's shoulder. We're all looking for people actively. All board members. And one question I had for you, Neil, was could we possibly send out, I know the questionnaire is not short. We've all looked at it, all board members and given comments. So is it possible, I think you said, it sounded like it was about a week for the board members not board members, for the candidates to fill it out. And I wondered, could we send it out sooner and give them more time? And so even if someone joins, someone is interviewed in May, they could get it then. I don't think everyone has to get it all at the same time. How does that sound?
I have no problem with it. I just picked those dates. I mean, we could send them out. We could send, if everyone on the board is happy with those, we can send them out tomorrow to the people who've already applied. And, maybe, if you stepped up early, you then have more time to work on the questions. I mean, that seems fair as well. It's not like a test, right?
Yeah, I'm on board with everybody else. I agree with having a deadline date, even if it's a soft one, where, somebody shows up May 6th and they really want to be on this, and they're a great candidate. There's still a way for them to make their way into those positions. But I also support what Julie said. I think that we've all been actively looking. Just last week, I've talked to 2 or 3 different friends for a good 20 minutes, half hour each about this position, with them asking me what it entailed and really trying to get them to come in and be part of this. Some people are a little reticent or they're a little nervous. So I've been trying to tell them how interesting it could be and what a great part of being part of New Paltz this could be. So I'm behind the May 5th date, and I agree with sending out the questions as soon as tomorrow so that people have time to start answering them. I think it's a great idea.
All right, any other? If not, we'll send those out tomorrow and try to keep this process moving along. And along those lines, Bob Gabrielli has expressed an interest and is here to interview. And so Bob, make sure you can unmute yourself, Mr. Gabrielli.
Thank you. Thank you.
And go ahead, I'll let you introduce yourself. We have your letter of interest, and I'll hand it over. Then the board can ask you some questions if they want to. So go ahead, please.
Great, fine. I hope I'm not too long in my resume. I've been on the planet a long time, so it's I grew up in New Paltz. I went to St. Joseph's School, what's now the Mountain Laurel School. I went to New Paltz High School. I graduated from SUNY New Paltz. I was early on a substitute teacher in the local schools. I've been a business owner, and I've been a police officer. In 1972, I shouldn't have said that. A long time ago, I joined the police department, and while I was there, I started a drug awareness program in the local middle schools with the sergeant at the time, Frank Melendez. I was put on loan to the Ulster County District Attorney's Office in the Kingston Police Department on an undercover assignment for 6 months. I started an awards program where we recognized exemplary police performance, but more importantly, we acknowledged civil acts of assistance to police agencies. We gave letters of commendation to people who helped the police department. I thought that was very good to get community involvement. I was the vice president of PBA, and not ironically, but very interestingly, years later, I became a member of the advisory board of that union, which had represented us at the time. And looking back at my police experience, I like to think that I put more Band-Aids and handcuffs on people. As a business owner, I had Reading Realty. During my state service, I ran the Studley office. Julian Studley was a friend, and I came in on weekends, and my wife, who's also a broker, worked there. So she would work diligently for 5 days, and on the weekend, I would come in and unravel everything she had done the previous week. During I was also the president of the Ulster County Multiple Listing Service at one time. I was the chairman of the Joint Realtor and MLS office. We administered the operations of the office. At that time, I was the chairman of the Legislative Action Committee. In 1995, I was appointed to the town board to fill an unexpired term. While I was there, I became very good friends with a fellow by the name of Dave Strong. We got an awful lot done. We passed the first master plan. We resolved a 4-year impasse of the contract with the police officer and a 5-year impasse with the police dispatchers. And we actually had a reformation of the police committee during that time. In 1996, as part of the governor's Omnibus Employee Safety and Security Act, I was appointed as the Deputy Inspector General for Workers' Compensation Frauds. There were two of us. It was the Inspector General was a guy by the name of Don DeAngelis. We remained very close friends. And Don was the chairman of the board at Albany Law School. So he and I started an office where none existed, a law enforcement office. I ran day-to-day operations for a statewide office with 7 offices, and we had about 35 people. I had supervision over investigators, attorneys, and forensic accountants. We did quite a bit more than the guy with the bad back. We didn't do that much at all. We did systemic frauds, white collar crimes, Dr. Mills, those kind of things. As a matter of fact, the governor at the time had been braced with the people who set the rates for workers' compensation. It's called the Compensation Insurance Rating Board. It's a completely independent agency. They had predicted a 29% increase in the rates. After 16 months, we had actually achieved a 34% reduction in the rates. I'd like to take credit for all of that, but I can't. But we had a substantial part of that. I was very, very proud of my work there. I was appointed to the FBI Northeast Healthcare Frauds Task Force. I obtained a top secret clearance. That's the highest one there is. It took 14 months. I hope I didn't have that much going on that they needed all that time. I was appointed the chair of a 7-agency task force, both 5 state and 2 city, for it was the Joint Economic Task Force on Employee Misclassification. I chaired that task force. So what else have I done? I retired from state service. I started in 1996. I retired 18 years later in 2013. I currently, a matter of fact, currently this week I received notification I got reelected to my 3rd 4-year term on the board of directors for the National Association of Inspector Generals for the New York and New Jersey Lodge. I'm also vice president of the New York State Fraternal Order of Police, the statewide Police Chiefs Lodge. I'm a member of the Mid-Hudson Police Chiefs Association. Formerly, I was the Executive Vice President of the New York Police Chiefs Benevolent Association. I was the Treasurer and Director of New York State Crime Stoppers. I was a member of of Congressman Ben Gilman's Narcotics Abuse Task Force. That was quite a while ago. And so I've had a lot of stuff that I've done. I'm still very active in real estate. I'm a business owner in the town. And I know I've given you an awful lot of stuff. I didn't mention that I was a director and treasurer of the Ulster County Agricultural Society. But if I didn't mention that, many cows would moo across the county. Thank you.
Does anyone have any specific questions for Mr. Gabrielli? I mean, I appreciate your applying. Let me just say that. You clearly do a lot of different volunteer work, bring a very diverse skill set and a long history of being in town. So thank you. I appreciate everyone applying, but I just want to make sure you're aware. And if anyone have any questions?
I do. Why aren't you running for governor? You seem very well equipped for the higher positions.
I served at the pleasure of 4 consecutive governors. So and I think I was on the right side of that relationship.
I think so too. I do have a question though. Obviously your resume is stellar. One of the things that I found, also having lived in New Paltz for a long time, is I feel like policing has changed a lot, especially in the last couple of years. I think it's a completely different job. And with it, we have to catch up. I think that it has changed and we're not really sure how to change with it because it's a little bit not defined how that change affects everybody. I think both the people in the police department and the public have a hard time trying to figure out how to be a police and how to be policed. I think it's a big question. And my question is, how do you feel that all your years of having worked with the police department at different levels, from the legal side to the active side to the governing side, I can't say prepares you, but how would you look at how your participation would work in the police commission with that big picture in mind?
Well, you're absolutely right. It is changing. It changes all the time, but it's been changing dramatically in this current era. And you have to have flexibility. I found that out in state government. There would be different things, stimulus from different areas. Different governors had different purposes. I served, when I was in the state government, I was a civil service exempt. I was what they call, the classification was management confidential. And our primary purpose was to reflect and incorporate the designs of what the administration wanted. We implemented their policies, and that's how I see the police commission. I hate to throw this back at you, but I see the town board as being the real policymakers and the police commission being the implementation of those policies. So there's a lot of latitude. You have to work within a structured legal system. You're that way, but you also have to be adaptive to what's going on. I think I've learned that. I understand what you're saying. It's a good question too.
Thank you. Good answer.
Can I just follow up on that, just to make sure I also heard you correctly? So is your impression that the town council is the entity that should create the policies for the police department?
I do believe so. I think you're the elected officials. And I think that it's the town board who should be more in touch with the people and what they want. And that the police commissioners should be able to implement those directives.
Thank you for the
Now,
clarification.
That's on, that's on a pretty big policy issue level,
Yep.
So I guess my comment is, sometimes on boards when there's one person who has a lot of experience or, if they're like an expert in something, I worry that they maybe dominate the board. And do you think that, I don't want to have one person on the board who's always saying, well, I used to, it's always done this way, or this is the way it has to be done, and, you've been on lots of different boards, obviously. So I think if you're on lots of different boards, you've been the person who's not in charge or doesn't have the experience, and maybe you recognize it, but I'm just wondering, are you, do you have any comments on that?
Well, that strikes a nerve with me because I found there's a fallacy that plays so often. I really, I'm disappointed with it when people say things like, we've always done that. We tried it and it worked. Well, they didn't try it. It worked. Maybe the time is different. I believe that everybody's got a perspective. Everybody's got they come with their own attitudes, their own perspectives, their own ideas, and they ought to be heard. And I've been on both sides of that. I've been on the side where I had an idea, and it's been poo-pooed, and I've been on other sides where I've seen people who were just hardened to hearing anything new. It's not a good thing, especially in a town like New Paltz. New Paltz is it's people by. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but there's a lot of really bright people in this town. It's very aware, it's very sensitive, and I think you need to go an extra mile to listen to people and be flexible. I don't know if I answered that question, but if you can fill in the blanks for me, I hope it works.
Hey, Bob, if you wouldn't mind, I just have another question too.
Sure.
You did serve as a police officer as well. I just think it would be interesting to hear your perspective. Do you have any thoughts on our reform and reinvention process? We've obviously spent the last few months implementing and discussing a lot of the work that's come from that commission. So I was just curious if, of those items that were highlighted, is there something you really support that you think was a great initiative? Is there something you think was a mistake, or what are your thoughts on that process?
This is going to sound overly simplistic, but I know how to drive the bus, but someone else picks the destination. Again, to go back, I know how to implement things. I know how to implement policy. I know how to do those things. I know how to work within a system. I did it for 18 years at state government. And, again, everything, day to day, I was day labor. I served at the pleasure of the governor. So I know how to I know how to effectively promote any ideas that I might have, but I also know effectively that I'm not the guy that determines the destination of the bus. So maybe I can help change the route, but someone else is going to pick the destination.
Thank you.
Hi, Bob. I am happy to have you here and appreciate your interest in the police commission.
Thanks
So
for
my
having me.
question is about, you discussed your work as a police officer, and correct me if I'm wrong, but still with your associations working with the police, will you be comfortable and fair and also perhaps having to discipline or suggest discipline, or be able to make criticism of things that need to be changed in the police department as well?
I was hoping I wouldn't have to give this answer. When I was a police officer, I either was involved in arrest or an investigation of 5 different police officers. Some were from New Paltz in my own department. Some were from other departments. I don't hold that up as a good thing. It was not a good thing at all. I know this. I came away with this. A good police officer is a great asset to the community, to be cherished. A bad police officer is not, and it's something to be dealt with immediately and forthwith. You know, it's so funny. When I first got my job as a police officer, I didn't know if I liked it or not. I didn't know if I wanted to do this. And my dad was a lawyer, and he had a friend whose name was Eddie Shannon. And Eddie Shannon was an old timer. Even the troopers don't know him anymore, but at his time, he was a legend. And he stopped me, sought me out, and he said, Bob, I really didn't know him too well. He said, you know, I know you, and I'm really glad you're a police officer, because someday you will change someone's life, like some kid. You'll help them out, you'll give them a break, you'll do something nice, you'll be an example, and it'll change their life for the better. And I'm still, when I think about it, it still really gives me good feelings to know that. And I find out that when I tell that story to people I see, like people on a town board, people who are teachers, people who have impact and socialization with kids especially, or other people, it's really something to be known. You will impact people, and the worst thing is you'll never know it. You'll never know it. So I don't, a matter of fact, when we started with the state, the first trial we had, first felony trial, was with a police officer. So, I mean, I'm not, a lot of people have a stereotype that if you're a police officer, you're somehow chained to some invisible brotherhood. In a way, that's true, because you do depend on other people to help you do your job. And sometimes your job can be injurious. So there is a dependency, but there's not, cover-ups are not a good thing. I don't do it. But thanks, appreciate it. That's a good question too.
I haven't spoken yet. I'll just, rather than asking you a new question, I'll just say I really appreciate your answers to the previous questions. I was wondering if you were going to come to this process, and I'm really glad you have. I remember I met you the day that there was a caucus, when we used to have caucuses, and my first time running for town board, and you were running for supervisor. But I wondered, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
I feel like I thought you had been on a police commission before, not just town board. Is that possible? Or is it that the town board was also a police commission back then too?
Well, I was on the town board. I was appointed to fill on an expired term, Tom Beninati. And at that time, they had a police commission that was the supervisor, the deputy supervisor, and then they had another fellow who was a retired trooper, retired major. Yeah. So
you weren't personally on a police commission ever?
No.
Okay. No. Well, I just made the association because you obviously were in the line of work for a long time. So
I'm hoping I can break that chain.
Well, not this way perhaps, but I'm so glad that you're interested, and certainly you have a real appreciation for the job, and would bring a lot to the position. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
I think we could all sit here and just listen to Bob for the rest of the evening. You're a good storyteller.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any last questions, or?
No, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Anything we didn't ask you that maybe you want to say, or you want to close up with anything? But you don't have to. I just don't want to shut you off before.
No, just I really I appreciate very much your having me. thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and I would look forward to serving if you so deem appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 2. This item 2 is the proposed forms for the residential rental property registration and vacant residential property registration. This is part of the rental registration law that we put in place in the fall. It's taken a while to put together. We want, Stacy wants to make sure it's done right. We're also short-staffed. So these are the drafts of the forms. They're on the town's website. I don't know if Stacy has any comments or people have questions. Stacy's here in the meeting, and I'll make her co-host if so she can unmute. If you should be able to.
All set. So I prepared the forms, and I prepared a fee schedule for your review. I'm satisfied with the forms. They have been vetted by the town attorney. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments about the forms or the fees, but all do need to be approved by the town board for me to move forward. Once this is approved, then I can start the notification process to those, we'll get it out to the public, but I also want to notify those that we know of that have done rentals in the past, just as an extra oomph, to get them to comply. And, we'll take it from there and see where it goes.
And so Stacy and I talked about this already. If you look at the fees, these are what it's costing the town, right? So Stacy put these fees together by making an estimate of how long these different tasks are going to take, and that's what it's cost. That's what it costs. Maybe they'll go down, or we'll adjust them, as we kind of work out some of the kinks. But right now, just so everyone's aware, this is not a money-making endeavor for the town. We're trying to make this revenue neutral and just cover our costs. Right? Is that a safe statement, Stacy?
I think so. It's a big endeavor to start with. Once people get registered, you'll see the first 4 fees are required pursuant to the code. Okay, I added a renewal because a renewal, we don't have to put as much work into a renewal as we have to for the initial registration, because the initial registration requires us to pull all the property records to make sure the information on the forms are correct, to make sure that the number of bedrooms that they say they have are actually legal bedrooms. And so there's a lot that goes into it. We have to measure up the rooms, to figure out what the occupancy limit would be, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot more that goes into an initial registration than a renewal registration. And that's the difference between those two. The request for certificate of occupancy requires a certificate of occupancy. If the owner of the property can't provide one, we can go through the file, provide one for them. That fee is the same fee that's actually on our fee schedule already. I just put it here so that it was available under the schedule.
Stacy, I just want to thank you so much for doing all this work. I know you're super busy, and I really appreciate all the effort you put into these forms and into doing this for us. I did have 2 questions. One of them was, if somebody has multiple rentals, this registration and these fees are per unit?
Per lot.
Per lot. Okay. So if somebody has, runs a Airbnb kind of company and has 4, 5, or 6, they have to fill one of these per lot.
That's correct.
Got it. Second question is, when you put amended registration due to non-compliance of this chapter, does that mean that's the fee if they don't fill it out? And
The law requires them to keep all the information up to date and to keep us up to date on all the information.
Gotcha.
Okay. That is if they violate the law and don't do that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
And the fee for the registration and inspection due to violations of the chapter, and then the amended registration that you're talking about, those two high fees. I looked at the chapter in regards to penalties.
Mhm.
And based on the penalties that we're looking at, I kind of pulled that out of the middle
Mhm.
for the penalties that are required, in the code. I know they're steep. Do I generally see them happening for rentals? Not so much. I see them more happening for the vacant building.
Right. Well, it certainly is a way to inspire people to make sure that they stay on top of all their paperwork.
If you don't, if you don't have a good penalty,
Mhm.
and people are, making money or using things as a business, because this is more for businesses. Owner occupied is not, part of this, and so on and so forth. So, if you throw $100 penalty at them, they're going to say it's worth the $100 penalty. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Right. Yep. No, absolutely. Yep. It's like New York City parking fees. Got it. Yeah. You won't park there again. Those were my only two questions.
I have
Question. I mean, I kind of combined them, but this, so we have the forms and then we have the fees. So that's the next number 3. But I don't want to close this down, but if no one has any other questions, we'll just make a motion to approve the forms as written and the fees as written, posted on the town's website.
I think Julie had a question.
I do have a question. I might as well second that for discussion, continuation of discussion. So no one else has to second it or make the motion again or second it. I was looking at the form and I'm just scrolling on my computer and there it is. You have a little section has the check boxes and its property inventory information. I wondered about that long-term rental, and it says that's defined as more than 30 days. Is it possible that it would be, someone wouldn't know, does it have to be consecutive days?
Yes, more than 30 consecutive days.
And if
Yes.
you think that people will understand that, then I'm not worried about it.
Do you want me, I can add the word consecutive in
You
there.
have very little room to add it, but if there's room.
Oh, no, I can add it, sure.
I love forms where things are really clear, and this is very clear. There's a lot of work. It's very complex, and I think you've done a great job.
Sure, not a
I have a similar other thing, which is the more than one dwelling unit in the lot, or more than one dwelling on the lot, and then it says number of dwelling units. Sometimes I would think some people might answer that they're not sure whether to include the main dwelling, if that makes sense, or if that's the number of additional dwelling units.
No, it's the number of dwelling units, so it would include all dwelling units.
Can you write total then? Is that
Sure.
that would just help?
Number.
Some
So
people
you
that
want me to put it number of total dwelling units?
I would say total number of dwelling units.
Okay.
That's my thought, anyways. Feel free to jump in, anyone else.
No, that's fine. That's
makes
fine.
sense.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, makes sense,
I
Julie.
take surveys
Okay.
for a living, and so I have that little nitpicky brain.
No, that's good.
And I think that's probably all good. Otherwise, I didn't see anything else. I mean, I suppose I did wonder about smoke and carbon monoxide alarms are interconnected, and I wondered to what, but that's probably because I just don't.
No. What that means is that they're all connected to each other.
Yes, but I wondered about the different dwellings. They're not.
It's per dwelling.
Per dwelling, yeah. So it's probably no one's going to really think that you wanted them connected.
remember, this is only applicable to 1 and 2 family dwellings. It's not applicable to
Yeah.
multiple dwellings, which is.
Right, I know, I was thinking of even an outbuilding, but as long as you don't think that
No, the standard is per dwelling unit.
Great. Yeah, and I was curious, off-street parking provided, is there a chance that it's not required?
Yes, it is.
It is required, okay.
Yes, according to our zoning code, single
looking
family
at it.
dwellings, you're required to have 1.5 parking spaces per dwelling unit.
Totally. Yes, I see the little example down there in.
Right. And sometimes the problem we have is that you don't have enough parking for the dwelling unit, and then you have people parking in front yards where they're not supposed to park,
Okay.
or parking on the street. So this section really is all about compliance with our local zoning code.
Yeah.
So
And I
we
see
wanna
that
make-
it's great that
we
you
wanna
put the
make-
code right after that. It's just that since it was after.
Yeah, and the reason why I did this was to make sure that the owners of the property understand that they have to be in compliance with our local zoning.
Yeah.
So, if you're gonna be a non-owner occupied landlord, you need to make sure that your property is in compliance with this local zoning code. And that's why all that's there. It's a reminder. They're telling us, we understand, this is what this has to be. So that in the future going forward, if we do have violations, we can say, but you filled out this form, you signed this form, you
Right.
knew, there's no, I didn't know. And that's why when you get further down to the questions where I acknowledge that the code of the town of Newport prohibits rentals of any dwellings as boarding houses.
Yeah.
Okay, as defined by the code, including lodging houses, and that's kind of taken right out of the code. There's a reason for that initial there. They're acknowledging that they understand that. So when we get a complaint from someone saying, well, they're renting the house out as a boarding house, and then we see that they're registered, well, they're in direct violation.
I love that we're doing this, and I think it's, as you know, it's scary how much work it's going to be required to sort of catch up, right?
Yep.
And so we'll be talking with you, I guess.
Well,
about
you'll be hearing from me
how
soon
it
in
goes and
regards to filling the municipal code officer's position, but I'm just not ready for that right now. I'm still trying to catch up.
I guess that's my other question. Speaking of playing catch up, what, and it might seem like a stupid question, but what do we do in order to know that people are actually filling this out and paying for it? What if somebody just has something that isn't registered with Airbnb or VRBO, but they're just doing it anyway?
Well, I mean, the only way to really find those is through complaints, and they will eventually come in because everything eventually makes its way to our offices.
Right.
We are fortunate. The county has been sharing with Neil what they're finding through a program or a company that the county has hired. We had looked at them a while ago as well, but the county said they were going to engage them. So we didn't, they were going to share the information. So they're starting to share that information. So we're getting a list of people who have advertised. And I think the way that it worked was they advertised as a short-term rental or possibly even a long-term rental. I'm not really sure on that. So we'll have that list. And part of getting this program up and running is I'm going to take that list and I'm going to notify a direct notification to these people. Now, not all of them may have to register because, again, this is not meant, the beginning of the code says it's not meant for an owner occupied dwelling that wants to rent, okay, I go away for 2 months out of the summer.
Right.
And I, to my lake house, and well, maybe I'll just, try to get my taxes paid. It's
Right.
not meant for them. This is meant for
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's meant more for businesses.
Right. Okay. Totally makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For non-short-term rentals, non-owner occupied, long-term rentals, right? So they're going to
That's
have to.
correct.
And the idea behind that is that these places are going to be inspected and they're going to be made sure that they comply with the fire code and the town's zoning code. Like, we didn't add any rules when we did this, right? The idea is that first we want to collect the data. How many places are there that are doing this? And let's just make sure they're following the rules that we already have.
Correct.
You know, neighbors may say, hey, you know what, my neighbor, you know, they may even tell the neighbor, oh, this is you have renters here, you might want to register, just so you're covered. Right, that's the idea behind it.
And it's not uncommon in a lot of, it's not uncommon in a lot of municipalities that have a lot of rentals, especially those municipalities that have colleges, that have a lot of recreation. It's not uncommon. You know, you can go up to the northern, you know, northern counties and northern towns and you see it a lot.
And it's the turnover that, you know, if it's one thing if someone rents a place and they're there for, you know, 10 years. But if there's new people going in and out every single year, it's more important to have it inspected to make sure it's safe for everyone. So. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor of the forms and the fee schedule?
As
Aye.
amended.
Oh, as amended. Thank you. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for
Thank you.
catching that. Number 4 is a resolution creating temporary no parking zones for the 2022 Rock the Ridge event, May 14th, 2022. We've posted it on the town's website. It eliminates parking in the area around the testimonial gateway for one day, just so they can control, you know, where people are parking and it's safe for everyone. And so we have to pass this so we can make no parking zones in areas where parking technically is allowed, but you probably shouldn't park there anyway. But so that's this. I'd like to make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion number 5, item number 5 is a motion to approve the promotion of Calvin Halstead to temporary sergeant effective April 26th, 2022 at the rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the hiring of Janae Gasparini as a part-time police officer effective April 25th, 2022 as a part-time police officer at the part-time police officer rate outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7 is a motion to accept the resignation of Elena Luyando as full-time dispatcher.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to approve the hiring of Elena Luyando as a part-time dispatcher effective end of tour April 8th, 2022.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9 is a motion to approve and authorize items 9A through 9H on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the April warrant in the amount of $1,796,289.83.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we're going to go into executive session to discuss personnel. And so I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session and to discuss personnel items.
Neil? Oh, I'm sorry. Just Neil, I was thinking, do you want to just do 12 to 14 and then go into executive session? So we don't have to do them when we get out?
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Never mind. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Did someone say?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll see if I can do the breakout room thing again. Oh, 2. I think I left those guys in the breakout room.
Probably a creative way to end a town board meeting is just leave the colleagues in the other room. That's all right.
I think they're still in the breakout room.
No, I think we're good. Yeah.
Are you guys out?
We're here.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session. It's 8:43 PM. And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the hiring of Joanne Cross as full-time highway secretary beginning May 9th, 2022 at the rate of $18 per hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 A motion to authorize hiring of Tyler O'Brien as seasonal municipal worker 1 for buildings and grounds at the rate of $20.80 an hour beginning on or after May 1st, 2022 for a period not to exceed 3 months.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And authorization to advertise for a part-time deputy town clerk position at the rate of $15 per hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.